Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Preppy podcast. I'm so happy you're here and listening today. As always, I have a fabulous episode. I have Chassity Evans, who is the author of Pink Sand Summer. She's also an influencer who I followed for many, many years. So I was thrilled to chat with her all about how she decided to write this book, her process, and even some of her style picks. It was just such a fun episode. I know you guys are really going to enjoy it as much as I did. Before we get into that though, a few housekeeping remindings. The first being we have some tickets left for Camp Preppy, Colorado. It's less than a month away, which is crazy to say. It's going to be so much fun, you guys. The swag is amazing. The activities, the group, it's going to be so fun, and we will be shooting for a magazine, so definitely get those tickets while you still can. We also have Kenny Bunkport in October, and then we might be working on another one as well, so sneak peek. And then finally, if you want to join the fun in between camps, sign up for Club Preppy. You can do all of this at thepreppypodcast.com. Club Preppy is our monthly membership. We do at least one virtual activity a month. Think of things like floral arranging, wine tasting, style workshops, recipes, all sorts of things with experts in the field. And it's a great community to share your preppy finds, the preppy lifestyle. Plus, people get a treat in the mail once a month. This month, we did a little cute white baseball cap, perfect for the summertime. We've done tote bags, so many other things. So all that information on Camp Preppy and Club Preppy is at thepreppypodcast.com. But let's get into this week's episode. Okay, so why don't you first let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do?
Hi, I'm Chassity Evans. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm a content creator, influencer, blogger. I started back in 2010. And I just recently wrote my first debut novel. So I'm technically an author now, too.
Oh my gosh, is that so crazy to say? I feel like.
It is. And I was just at an event here in Charleston where someone asked me what I do. And I said I was a content creator. And my friend standing next to me, like, elbowed me and she's like, "You're an author."
Oh
And I
my
was like,
gosh.
yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I cannot wait to learn more about your book, how you came up with it, and the journey leading up there. But let's start at the beginning. Tell me about you as a kid. Were you someone that was like writing books even as a kid? Someone that was super into clothing and fashion and dressing themselves as a little kid? Like, what was your childhood like?
Well, as a kid, I grew up in small towns, so I read a ton. I was a big reader. I had a pretty big imagination. I loved fashion. I was always playing in my closet or wanting to go shopping or order from the J. Crew catalog, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I guess I've always kind of been a little bit into exactly what I'm doing now.
That's part of the reason I asked that question is I find when we reflect and look back, there were so many little inklings of who we are today when we were a kid back then, which I find so funny and like full circle moment.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I moved around a couple of times and we would move to small it was always a smaller town and it would take a little bit to meet friends. And I always had I loved like a collection of books like The
Mm.
Babysitter's Club or Sweet Valley High.
Yeah.
So as soon as like one book finished, I could pick up the next one. I was still in that world with those characters. It was like they were my friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was always a big part of my life.
Definitely. And I love how you mentioned catalogs too. Like, and now I feel like catalogs are having a moment and coming back. But growing up, circling things you wanted for back to school or Christmas, I just loved physical catalogs and like physical magazines. And I feel like that's why a lot of us today are in the careers that we're in, like whether it's being a blogger, an influencer, or me working in PR, like growing up in that era of like magazines and catalogs.
Oh my gosh, yes, like circling everything on my wish list, whether it was for Christmas and it was toys, or if it was the J. Crew catalog, or is it, do we pronounce it Delia's?
Oh yeah, Delia's, yeah.
Remember that from the 90s?
Yes.
Loved that magazine.
Yep.
Yeah, just like circling and kind of imagining all the things that you would order. I never, of course, got to order everything that I wanted to, but it was just fun going through the process, which is, I guess, kind of what I do now. Like I'm always saving new arrivals and favorites that I love, and I'm
Mhm.
certainly not buying all of them, but it's still fun to, heart them.
And imagine where you would wear them to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. So tell me about then when it came time for college, where and what did you end up studying and why did you sort of choose that path to begin with?
So I went to Indiana University, and I grew up in Indiana, and I studied apparel merchandising. At the time, when I started, I thought I wanted to own a small clothing boutique.
Mhm.
And then I got a part-time job in college working at a clothing boutique and decided I did not want to do that at all. So that changed. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll be an actual buyer in a large city,
Mhm.
and that would be great. And then somewhere, you know what? I think I watched the movie The Wedding Planner
Yeah.
with Jennifer Lopez and was like,
Yep.
I'm going to be a wedding planner. That's what I'm going to do. So then I tacked on a minor of like, that I don't even remember what the name of that program was, but
Yeah.
I tacked on that kind of thing. Ended up, my job after college had nothing to do with either of
Oh,
them
that's so
because
funny.
I was a pharmaceutical rep, which is not related directly to either of them, which is
Yeah.
it just goes to show that sometimes what you study does not have to have anything to do with what you're actually passionate about and
Yeah.
following in the end.
Yes, no, for sure. And I think though, I know a lot of people that are pharmaceutical reps, and I think with that job, you have to be social. You have to be like a good marketer at the end of the day, right? To get those accounts, to get people to buy things. So I still think that probably was impactful and helpful for what you're doing today, even looking back.
Yeah, I think so too. Just having to walk into an office
Mhm.
and like, cold call if,
Yep.
if I hadn't yet met that office. And, it does kind of thicken your skin a
Yep.
little bit and help you with rejection.
Yes. And I'm sure confidence too, right? Building confidence and being able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think moving around a little bit when I was a kid probably helped with that too, of having to, go to a whole new school where all of these kids already had their group of friends that they were hanging out with. And I had to try to like find my way in.
Mhm. Yep, 1,000%. Now, what about your blog? Like, when did that come into the picture? And sort of what was the reasoning or thought process behind starting a blog when you did?
Well, so I had my daughter in 2009, and after I had her, I did not go back to my pharmaceutical sales job. So for about 9 to 10 months of being a stay-at-home mom, I was just reading blogs all the time. And I felt like I knew these creators, I knew the people in the comments, and I really wanted to just be a part of that conversation and get and just share what
Yep.
was going on in Charleston because we have a lot of really talented people here too, and I felt like it was a unique point of view for me to
Mhm.
just kind of dive in and start sharing. So it was a little bit of just wanting to be a part of the content creation community because the women online are awesome.
I remember those early blogging days where people would comment and then once you see their comment, then you go to their own blog. Like it was this whole little web, kind of like what Instagram is today, right?
Yeah. I remember being so excited when I would be placed on a blog that I followed on their blog roll. And I
Yeah.
just felt like I had hit the literal lottery. It was the best time, really. I loved that internet time.
Exactly, because I feel like even today, like you said, you can meet so many great people on the internet, but there's still trolls. And I feel like back then there weren't trolls like they are today, if that makes
Not
sense,
not as bad anyway. They were
right?
there, but not anything like what they are now, I fear.
So then tell me a little bit about starting your blog. Like what were you posting back then? How often were you posting? And at that point, did you think you could eventually turn it into a career, or was it kind of just like you said, you love this community that was there and you just wanted to be part of that?
So I always took it seriously and would post every day, even though there was no income coming from it. And I didn't know what to expect.
Mhm.
I certainly didn't expect it to become what it has become today. Like that was not on my radar because when I started, it was before affiliate links began.
Yes.
So I mean, that was a massive deal changer. And brands weren't really working with bloggers at that
Yeah.
point. So that was just, it wasn't even a dream at that point. But it was really incredible when it did start happening. But as far as the content, it was very similar to what I write more. There was probably a lot more kid content then because I was just in the throes of, Lily being little. And then when I had Fletch 2 years after Lily, I was
Mhm.
just in the middle of that and I shared a lot of my life, but it was still very style oriented. It wasn't, I never had a mommy blog. I didn't do too much of that, but there were more interiors probably shown, like my house and
Mhm.
decorations for holidays and
Mhm.
parties and kids' finds and things like that, as well as the fashion.
Okay, that makes total sense. And speaking of those game changers, like what do you think really helped over the years bring your blog to the next level? Like make it a career for you? Like, was it the affiliate links, like an LTK, a Shop My? Was it like you said, brands work differently with people back then? I feel like it would be more like Martha Stewart magazine having this weekend trip and inviting influencers, or like you were doing more like challenges with a group of bloggers. Like it was just so different than what it is today, right?
Yeah, it really was different. And it was an interesting time. Martha never invited me to her weekend house. Unfortunately, that would have been pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's still time, she's back in the action now, and so maybe she'll have you for an author retreat.
Yeah. But I do think that it was the affiliate links and
Mm,
being able for brands to be able to see the difference that the content creators would actually make for their brand
yes.
was probably the biggest change. And then also social media. Once Instagram picked up, because when I started, I mean, Instagram may have been around, but people weren't using it the way that we do today.
Yeah.
So once that all picked up, there was just more visibility that way too. So I think
Mhm.
it was a little bit of a combo, but definitely the affiliate linking for sure.
Yes. No, I'm sure, because back then, also, it was you would do ads on the side of your blog, I remember, and that's kind of how bloggers would make their money in the early days, right?
Yeah, I did a lot of that with a lot of Etsy shop owners too. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so much fun. There were a lot of really creative, cool women.
Definitely. Now, with your blog, and that business, what's been some really exciting pinch me moments that you've been able to achieve through it?
I mean, for me, the biggest pinch me moments are when I get messages today
Mhm.
from people who have been with me from the beginning and they'll like reference something from the beginning. The fact that I have this community of people that have been with me for so long that like it just feels like friends, that's the coolest part for me, for
Yeah.
sure. And then all of the people that I've just met along the way, like so many other content creators that are my genuine friends, like some of
Mhm.
my best friends that I've met through this job. So there's been, I mean, there've been like some probably really cool things. I feel like there have been magazine features
Ah,
along the way, and I remember I got to style a model during New York Fashion Week for Stylist and AOL,
okay.
and then like the next day I was in a cab in New York and that event was like playing on the little screen in the back of the cab and I
Yes.
was being interviewed in it and I just remember thinking what in the world is this? This is crazy.
That is really amazing. I mean, what are the odds that it was playing when you were in the cab?
I
Like,
know it was insane. I couldn't believe it cuz I live in Charleston and I'm not in New York very often. So they had a fast turnaround. That was pretty.
I love that. We've mentioned community a lot so far on this episode, and I'd love to hear if you have any tips for creating, nurturing, and growing community.
Well, as far as an online community,
Mhm.
I would just say be involved.
Yeah.
In the comments, in the responding to stories,
Mhm.
just let your voice be heard because I mean that's the most important thing because that's how dialogue begins and then that's how you're going to build relationships with the people that are like-minded and that you're interested or inspired by.
That makes sense. So not only on your own post when someone is commenting, like comment back on them, but then also, going out and commenting on other brands, other influencers, creating community that way, right?
Yes, yes. Be a butterfly. When the people that you are following, when they're sharing content, be in their comments,
Yeah.
respond to their stories. A lot of the best type of relationships that I have with my followers are from the DMs that I get that are either just a direct DM or a response to one of my stories.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's a great tip. And I feel like no matter what your industry in, like creating community, creating like a customer base is so important so that that can apply to people beyond creators, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Now I'd love to talk about your home at Harbor Island because I know then that kind of was a little bit of inspiration then for writing your book, right?
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that home. I love the pictures on Instagram, like how you decorated all of that. I'd love to hear a little bit.
Well, thank you. So we bought Coral House. All the houses on Harbor Island in the Bahamas, they don't have addresses, they have names, which I just think is really charming. So
Yeah.
we bought Coral House in 2016. It was a two-bedroom at the time. So we did a little bit of a renovation and added two bedrooms, and we added a pool and a couple of other things like opening up the kitchen. And it was always with the intention to rent it out and share it with other people. It's a historic cottage in Dunmore Town, and like the downtown part of Harbor Island. It's right on Bay Street.
Okay.
It was built in the mid 1800s. I wish we had an exact date, but we do. Maybe someday somebody who knows will like connect with me in some way. But yeah, so we started renting it out in 2017. It has been one of the most incredible experiences ever. Like getting to share this house with so many people. We have a lot of repeat renters that come year after year with their families. And Harbor Island is such a special island of people. I mean, obviously it's beautiful. It has pink sand, beaches and a lot of colorful historic houses, and it's gorgeous. The water is blue, but the people there are so incredible. It's the kind of place that when you go, you're already planning your next trip back. And
Yeah.
then when you come back, you run into the people from your first trip and you feel like you're just back with your people again.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It was a huge inspiration for me with Pink Sand Summer.
Definitely. And so how did you pick that you wanted to get a house there? Like, did you go on vacation and fell in love and that's kind of how it came to be then, I assume?
That's exactly it. My husband and I would go for vacations, just the two of us. We would stay at the Dunmore, which is a fabulous resort right there on the beach on Harbor Island. And we just wanted to spend more time there. And it just felt like such a dream to have a house there where we could bring our kids and build a stronger knit community there for not just Josh and me, but for our kids too.
Yeah, certainly. It sounds so magical. And like I said, I love how you decorated it. I feel like the kitchen's kind of iconic. I see a lot of pictures and like I can recognize that it's your kitchen when I see other people post it.
That is a popular photo spot. I love when I see it in my feed. It just completely makes my day.
Definitely. Was that hard to decorate? I've had friends on different islands, and I know getting products takes a lot longer, or did you have a different experience?
It was difficult, and getting mail or items to Harbor Island, the boat comes once a week.
Oh,
And then it goes through customs, and then you have to have somebody go to customs to pick up whatever it is that you sent. So it is not anything like mailing something to yourself here where you live.
yeah.
It was difficult in that we had a, what do you call them? Like a container.
Okay.
And for a month, I had a month's period of time where I could have everything that I was purchasing for the renovation shipped to Fort Lauderdale, where this container was.
Okay.
And they would receive those items, put them in the container. But once that month was up, that was when the container shipped over to Harbor Island. So I
Okay.
had to kind of time everything, and my husband too. He was a big part of this as well. So it was
Yeah.
not just me. We really had to time that, but we also had to work with a lot of the things that were already there on the island or already there in the house. So when houses sell on Harbor Island, they sell furnished, which is great.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of Luli Wallace fabric and shipped that down and recovered a lot of the items and had curtains made and pillows and things like that. The art I feel like was the most fun to buy, and a lot of it I didn't know where it was going to go yet necessarily, because you just kind of you might have an idea, but you're not there in the space to
Yeah.
really think it through. And the install week was so much fun, like just kind
Oh,
of putting everything
Christmas morning, you probably forgot about some of the stuff, and so you're like, "Oh."
for sure. Yeah, that definitely happened.
That I just love, like, more behind the scenes like that, so it's fascinating to me, pulling it all together and getting it, just how it looks now, it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So now I'd love to chat about the book. Has this always been like a long-term dreaming goal for you? I know you're a big fan of reading, great romance like beach reads. So did you always know you wanted to be an author, or did this kind of come later and you found your journey that way?
I had no idea I would ever write a book.
Okay.
I never even thought about it or dreamed about it. To me, authors I never even really thought about authors all that much. I would, read the books, but I didn't think about who wrote them. I assumed they were just this incredibly smart person and, put them up on a pedestal, but I certainly didn't think that that would be my route. Um, so how it happened was I literally woke up one day knowing that I was going to write this book.
It
It
just came
was
to you.
it was like a dream, I guess. It was incredible. It was, I think, December 21st,
Okay.
not of this last year, of the year before.
Okay.
And we were flying to Harbor Island for Christmas with the kids. And it was that morning that I woke up knowing I was going to write this book. And I took the 2 weeks there on Harbor Island to just kind of think about it and jot down notes in my notes app. And then when we came back to Charleston, January 6th, I sat down and started writing it. And then I spent this whole last year of 2025, yeah,
Okay. I'm like, where what year
2025,
are we in?
writing the book. And then it kind of almost fully finished late-ish January of 2026. So it took a little bit over a year in total.
To write it. Oh my gosh. Now, I've heard I've heard different authors talk about their process. Were you someone that was strict and was like, okay, every day I am going to make myself write like 1,000 words, or did you kind of just let it go naturally and what worked?
I was not strict. I'm
Okay.
not a very strict, scheduled kind of human being.
Mhm.
And so I didn't have rules per se about what I wanted to do. I was just so enamored with the story and wanting to actually complete the story and get it done that I was really quite diligent about wanting to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I probably wrote 5 days a week. I bet, like there at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, there's so many times that you go through the book, which you might not know that because I did not know that, prior to writing the book. There's so many drafts that you do of it
Okay.
that I think it was after the third draft that I finally felt like I was ready to have a beta reader read
Okay.
it. And it felt really good to kind of hand it off, let somebody else read it and get some feedback and some thoughts and take that 3 weeks or however long that period ended up being to kind of take a little bit of space from the
Mhm.
story. And then by the time I sat back down with it again, it was totally ready to go again.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, how did you sort of find out about the process or know about the process then? Because, like you said, when you came into it, it just came to you that you were going to write it, but you had no previous plans to do that. So, did you immediately seek out, like a manager or a representative, or did you have a friend maybe who wrote books who kind of guided you? Like, how did you know the process?
I immediately just started writing.
Okay.
I think part of what worked so well was that I had no expectations. um, I did, I wasn't too fearful of the what ifs. And so I just started writing. But simultaneously, I also started following a lot of different Substacks that were focused on the publishing world. I
Okay.
started going to more book events here in Charleston and meeting authors and just people in the business. I started talking about it on Instagram, sharing that I was writing a book and just kind of how the process was going. And that kind of led into a lot more, interesting conversations and people to chat with. So it was really, I didn't even take a writing class. I
Wow.
was afraid that if I started down that path, I would just get in the weeds of
Yeah.
it and never feel like I was ready.
Yes.
So instead, I just started writing and I hired an editor
Okay.
who is a very talented editor. Her name is Abby Abel, and she went through multiple rounds of editing with me and really helped me figure out where I needed to go deeper with backstory, or I cut a character out of the story that she felt, just wasn't necessary to the plot. Um, she helped with pacing, she helped with the yearning, like all of these things
Yeah.
really kind of helped teach me along the way. I by no means an expert or anything, but having a partner help me with my specific piece, I think
Mhm.
was more beneficial to me than working with in an abstract way
Yeah.
about if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think it's important, like you said, you needed to step away for a little bit too and have someone look at it because sometimes when you're in it so much, you can't see certain things and you need a little bit of a break to come back in or a different person to look at it, right?
Yeah, honestly, some of my very best ideas for the book came during those breaks.
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean, really, truly, like the meat and bones of the story were just kind of, for the most part, happened during the writing process.
Mhm.
But the really fun, interesting things came out of those breaks, which
Oh,
is, I don't know, I find that really interesting.
yes. No, I mean, it makes total sense. Once you're away from it a little bit, then you get some clarity, I think, which is helpful or a different perspective. Or sometimes you need to go out and do something to experience or see something that inspires you, right?
For sure. But it was also really helpful for me to have the editor whom I love and trust tell me when it was done. Because
Mhm.
I could have kept doing drafts over drafts over drafts of
Yes.
Pink Sand Summer forever and never feeling like it was, complete. And
Yeah.
having someone say, it's done. It's
Yeah.
you
Step
it,
away, it's
it's
done.
go time. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about what the book's about for those listeners who might not be, familiar with it yet?
Sure. So the main character, her name is Lucy. She lives in Charleston, but it's not based on Charleston. It's based on Harbor Island. She spends every summer on Harbor Island all of her life because her grandparents have a home there. She's just inherited the beach house, as you do in the best books. And so she's returning this summer and she's a little nervous about, what it means to now have to take care of this home. She's
Yes.
floundering a little bit with her art career. And in the midst of this, she has many run ins with her first love, Jack, and also with a newcomer named Noah. So there's a ton of socializing, which is just true to Harbor Island in the story, like lots of parties and events and things like that. So it's just a really fun social summer story, romance.
Ah, it sounds like the perfect summer beach read, honestly.
It was really fun to write. I just kind of want to live in that world, and it was fun bringing all of my favorite things about Harbor Island into the story. So
Mhm.
my favorite restaurants, and my favorite drinks and meals that I would order, and pickleball, and just all the different things. It was just really fun to create it.
Yes. Well, and I'm sure with your background in being an influencer, being a blogger, and working, in fashion and style to some extent, it kind of probably had a great influence then on the book. Like you could really, when you write, like picture things then, right?
Yeah, honestly, while I was writing, I find this to be interesting too.
Mhm.
As I'm writing, I almost am like seeing a movie play of
Mhm.
what I'm writing
Yes.
a little bit, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it makes
I'm
sense.
very visual.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say it sounds like you're very visual and I am as well. So
Like I
I
can
could see
picture
that.
the brands that these girls are wearing,
Yes.
And friendship is a big part of the book too, because girl friendship is such an important part of my life that I really wanted these friends to have a healthy, supportive, long living friendship.
Yes. Well, I saw an influencer, someone shared your little dedication page, and it was to the girls, right? Which I was like, that's so sweet, like a girl's girl.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a girl's girl. Yeah.
Amazing. Now tell me a little bit about the cover then, because I think that also is so beautiful and it really grabs you.
The cover design process was really fun. So I hired Monique Amy. She is in Boston, Massachusetts. Super talented. She does other books as well as a lot of other cool things for other brands. And so how that process went was I gave her a lot of imagery of Harbor Island, other books that I'm inspired by, details about the book, like what it's about, that there was a jolly that my main character has, that the
Mm,
sand is pink, obviously, just all sorts of different things.
yeah.
And then she put together three different cover ideas
Okay.
for me to kind of pick and run with.
Yeah.
And the one that is the cover of Pink Sand Summer was so obvious that that was the one.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of like back and forth with that illustration,
Okay.
changing the colors and moving things around. And at one point there was a really, really, really large cocktail in there. And we kept making it smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually we're like, all right, we gotta get rid of the cocktail.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Now, since I work in PR and marketing, I'd love to hear sort of about the process with marketing the book, getting it out there, launching the book, especially since this is your first book.
Yeah, it is my first book, so I don't know what I'm doing. I have hired a PR company to help me with press
Okay.
kind of thing, like hoping to get a few things there and some podcasts. And then we're also planning a Harbor Island book club girlfriend trip that I'm doing next month in June. So we're
Okay.
bringing some influencer friends and we're all going to go to the different places in the book and kind of experience that, because my hope is that a lot of people who read this book are in book clubs and that book club will go to Harbor Island and experience themselves. I just want everybody to go to Harbor Island and have a time, basically. And so I'm really excited about that. And then also just from the 15, 16 years of being a content creator, blogger, I have a lot of influencer friends.
Mhm.
So I've been sending the book to them and just really hoping that, it works. We'll see. I want people to love the story.
No, I'm sure everyone is going to love it. And I think it is smart. I have seen you lean into your influencer friends and sending them advanced copies. I think that's very smart and something that sets you apart and gives you a little bit of an advantage and, keeps it unique, right?
Yeah, I feel really lucky that I have the network of, I mean, it always comes back to supportive, amazing women.
Yeah.
I have an incredible network of them. It's why the book is dedicated to all the girlies. Like
Yeah.
it's just what would we do without each other, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah, 1,000%. Are there any authors that inspire you or like you love their books and are big fans?
Yes, so many. Well, I just downloaded Carly Fortune's new book and
Okay.
started that last night. I love Carly Fortune. Her books are incredible. I also love Ellen Hildebrand and that whole world that she's built around Nantucket. Very inspired by that.
Mhm.
I like Emily Henry, Christy Woodson Harvey, Victoria Benton Frank here in Charleston is an incredible writer. I mean, there's so many. There's so many authors. I
Yeah.
do read a lot. Yeah.
I love that though. I feel like it's always helpful for listeners to hear like, oh, who they should check out also, or what the inspiration is, who inspires them, other amazing women. So
Who
yeah.
are some of your favorite authors?
So I read a lot of business books, I would say, but Sophia Kinsella, the Shopaholic series, is like my favorite, like pleasure, fun, light reads. I would say.
Yeah,
And Ellen Hildebrand. I mean, yeah, she does such a great job as
did you
well.
read her new book with her daughter Shelby, The Academy?
No, I haven't yet, but one of my friends did, and she said it was amazing. So I think I'm going to read that.
It is amazing. I think there's
Yeah.
going to be three books in the series, and the next one will come out, I want to say this September. It's like around the
Okay.
time of when school starts.
Yes.
It's fantastic. You should read
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna add that to my list then.
Yeah.
Um, so since this is the Preppy podcast, I always ask everyone, what does Preppy mean to you? So how would you describe Preppy?
Preppy means put together and clean and positive, like kind of upbeat and, like a happy outlook.
Yes, 1,000%. And very pink.
And, yeah, pink and white and yellow. Yeah.
Yes, no, that's a great answer. So, with the whole book writing process, what's been the hardest part for you, the most challenging? And then, what's been something that you've really enjoyed and maybe surprised you about the process that, makes it all worth it in a way?
The hardest part for me has been book two.
Oh,
Um, book one just flowed
yep.
so easily for me, and getting into book two has been a lot harder. And trying to carve out the time for book two has been harder than book one. I guess just because book one still takes up a lot of, it's taking up like most of my brain.
Yeah.
And as well as, I'm still doing content creation and being a mom and all the things, that
Yes.
it's harder for me to find the time for book two and really dive into that. So that's been the hardest. And I hear that sophomore slump
Uh
is,
huh.
I don't know if that just means, I don't know what that means exactly. But for me, I'm making that mean my sophomore slump is that I'm having trouble like getting into it.
I mean, well, you're still in the midst of the first one, like promoting it and all. So I can't imagine that having to take up more headspace to write a completely different one.
Right. But the idea for me that I want to do is be able to have book two come out next May.
Oh, I
Like
love that.
one book a
Yes.
year, and it'll be
Yep.
in this whole pink sand summer universe. So I really want to keep that cadence. So that's been the hardest part. And
Mhm.
then the surprising easiest part would be the editing phase. I had read so much from the Substacks that I mentioned that I've started following, and all of these accounts saying how hard. I just assumed the editing phase was going to be miserable, that when I would get the sheet back from my editor, I would cry, and that I would, you know, want to get into a fight about it. I didn't have that experience at all. Every time that I don't know if my editor is just the best person on earth, but Abby was so helpful with her notes.
Yep.
And I found this to be interesting because I had no idea how it would work. So she would write like an overview of her thoughts of the book.
Yeah.
But then in Word, off to the side throughout, as you're scrolling through the whole book, she has notes at certain parts that say, I'm confused by this, or what if da 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 da, or this wording is a little bit clunky, like things like that. And
Yeah.
it was incredible to me to have, someone. It was like having a writing partner
Yes.
almost.
Yes.
And it was a really fun experience. Like I was getting feedback in real time,
Yeah.
which was fun because all I wanted to do was think about these characters and talk about them. So it was a form of communicating about the characters, but also, getting improvements along the way. So that was surprising how much fun that was.
Yeah. I would find that so surprising too. And I'm someone, I don't take, I mean, criticism, like gentle criticism, but, and so I think sometimes I could take things too personally then because it's your baby, right?
Yeah. Well, it helps that I felt like I had no idea what I was doing, So I really was like, tell me.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I'm telling you, don't take the writing class. Just dive right in and then
Dive
hire
in.
someone to help you, and then you'll just feel good about the whole process.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even when I interview a lot of entrepreneurs on this podcast, we talk about that. Like getting started is the hardest part because you can wait forever and like be like, no, I should take this class. I should learn this first. I need to buy this new computer for like there are so many things to hold you up and you have to just get started and do it, right?
You do.
Yeah.
And this was the biggest way that I could have proven that to myself.
Okay.
Like I had to just jump in.
Speaking of that, then, any advice or tips for someone wanting to someday write a book?
Dive in.
Evan. Yep.
Just, take give yourself a short period of time, like maybe it's 2 weeks, whatever it is, where you brainstorm about the book, get a good idea of what you want it to be, and just start writing.
Yep.
And then along the way, start following other authors, start following bookstagrammers or book talkers if you're on TikTok, and really kind of immerse yourself in the world, because that will be really, for me, it was motivating.
Mm.
Like it felt like my world was so much about books at that point that I wanted to work on my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even just in reading books in the genre that you want to read. Like every time I finish a book, I'm inspired about my own.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
love that. That's great advice. And I've had heard a lot of people mention Substack is like where authors, where like you can even get book deals. Like a lot is happening on Substack, I feel like, for authors, right?
Yes, Substack is huge, so I would definitely recommend getting on there if they haven't yet, because you'll find a lot of information, a lot of great knowledge there. It's a kind place. Well, it's mostly a kind place. Um, yeah. I think just joining the community
Yeah.
is the best thing that you can do. Similar to the idea of anyone who wants to, the question you asked about content
Yeah.
creation, like get in the conversation, like join the world,
Yes.
join the book world, and
Okay.
just start literally writing.
No, that makes total sense, and is great advice there. Okay, so my final question is, who would be your dream to read your book? Like, if you found out so and so had your book, on their nightstand and was reading it, like, who would be an absolute dream for you?
I have three.
Okay.
Um, and it's all very book related.
Yeah.
So I love Jenna Bush.
Yes.
And I
Just.
love her books that she recommends. That
Mhm.
would be a dream. Mindy Kaling is one of my most favorite, celebrities to follow.
Yeah.
I love her TV shows. I've read her books. I love following her. I love her fashion.
Yeah.
That one would be super exciting. And
Hmm.
then also, I was going to say Reese Witherspoon just because that is such a big deal.
Yeah. Her book club and
Yeah,
yeah,
like
her
her
stamp
book
of
club is such a
approval.
big deal that would feel really, really cool. Yeah.
Hmm. No. I mean, who knows down the line, would you be open to getting it made into a TV show or a movie or anything?
Absolutely. That would be that would be the most fun.
Yes, we're putting it out there in the universe.
Yeah, let's put it out there. I can see it.
Me too. No, totally. And they'd have to film on Harbor Island, obviously.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
At least for a good portion of it, yes.
I love that. So, can you let everyone know where they can follow along with you, where they can buy the book, and any other, links, handles you want to plug?
I think Instagram is the easiest
Okay.
place to follow along, and that's chastity.evans.
Mhm.
I have my website, chastityevans.com. I'm on Substack. I'm on TikTok a little bit, but not as much.
Yes.
And then currently, you can purchase the book on Amazon and on bookshop.com. I
Okay.
think I think because I think it's now on like Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, those kind of places too. As far as in store, Ladybird Books here in Charleston, it's on King
Okay.
Street. It is an incredible bookstore. It's so beautiful. They're going to be carrying signed copies, and they'll have a listing on their website, except like they'll have like a regular Pink Sand Summer listing, and then they'll also have a signed copy Pink Sand Summer listing. So they
Okay.
can ship signed copies from there as well.
Oh, amazing. Okay. And then are there any events or book signings that are more open to the public that people should keep their eyes out for? Or no.
Well, there are a couple of events. It feels like I'm going to New York. I think that one is going to basically be private. And I think the Nashville one there will be a conversation at a
Okay.
bookstore there. We don't have the date yet. That'll be
Okay.
much later this summer. There's one in Charleston, but it's already sold out,
Okay.
unfortunately. But I
Okay.
also plan on adding another one that will be more in conversation in Charleston as well.
Yeah.
So that hopefully will be coming sometime this summer.
So if they just follow along with you, though, you'll announce those.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll definitely be talking about them all.
Perfect. Well, Chastity, I'm so happy you got to talk today. I really enjoyed our conversation and learning more about you and the book writing process. It was just so enjoyable.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy Podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.